I want to share something with you. I've seen Vladimir Putin in 2008 here in Bucharest at the NATO summit, right here in this hall that we are making this interview. On this very stage, he held a press conference and talked about Ukraine's and Georgia's aspiration to join NATO. I remember that when he entered, his journalists just stood up and clapped for him, and he was very aggressive and just warned NATO not to agree to Ukraine and Georgia's membership. Do you think that could have go differently? It would be a different situation if the political decision back then in 2008 would have been different?
Absolutely. If Ukraine was admitted to NATO in 2008, there would be no war that we are seeing now. If in 2014, 50% of the sanctions that are imposed now, maybe 25% of sanctions, had been imposed on Russia, maybe Putin would recognize that there would be a cost. If during 8 years after annexation of Crimea and war in eastern Ukraine started by Putin, until his latest aggression in February this year, if Ukraine had been armed, if Ukraine received full support from the free world, again, good chance Putin would not cross the red line. But he believed he could go unpunished again. And I think it's time for many world leaders like Barack Obama, Angela Merkel, to actually speak out. I want to hear from Angela Merkel. She was in Germany, the Chancellor of Germany, actually the leader of Europe, and she did absolutely everything to put Europe on the hook of Russian gas. She is directly responsible for Putin's aggressive policies because she prevented Europe from finding alternative pipelines. We see now it's not that difficult. It takes maybe 6 months for oil, maybe a few years for gas, 16 years. If she were quoted a Russian agent, of course she was not, what else she could do to help Putin? It's a result of, some say naivete, I would say, it's a cold business interest with total, contempt for political realities. How many times Angela Merkel and her administration talked about, pipelines, Nord Stream 2, it's business, let's separate from politics. You can separate it, but Putin doesn't, and he never did. And Germany played a crucial role in paralyzing Europe in the wake of Putin's aggression. And all the outcries from Eastern Europe, from Poland, from Romania, from Baltic states, they were just, they were not heeded, ignored. And the United States, 8 years of Barack Obama, the years from 2009 actually, January, to early 2015, those are the years where Putin left office officially, always stayed behind his puppet Medvedev, and then came back. And when he attacked Syria and annexed Crimea, response from America, flexibility. Barack Obama was laughing at Mitt Romney at the presidential debates in 2012, when Mitt Romney correctly said that Russia was geopolitical foe number one. And Obama responds, you live in the past. It's not a Cold War. Check your calendar. It's not 1980s. Yeah, it's not 1980s. It was a new, much more dangerous, more aggressive empire, because Putin recognized that he could buy his way through. So many Western politicians and business people and luminaries were willing to live on Putin's cash, starting with Gerhard Schroeder, and the list will be so long. So many former prime ministers, foreign ministers, captains of business, and prominent individuals were willing to embrace Putin, and again, ignoring the fact that he was a war criminal from the very beginning. Again, I want to hear from Angela Merkel. She has to go to Kiev to apologize. I want to hear from Barack Obama, who is around but pretends that he had nothing to do with what's happened. And many politicians in Europe. So still, they are short of recognizing their guilt in making Putin who he is today. For those who are, surprised, war crimes in Ukraine, yes, it's massive scale. What about Aleppo, carpet bombing Aleppo? What about using chemical weapons in Syria? What about Grozny back in 2000? What about killing political opponents? Again, we all know what KGB is. I'm in Romania. I'm not in France, not in Great Britain. But we are now seeing the threat that is being recognized. And I think it's a historical moment where the history of the 21st century will be changed. But Ukrainians are paying enormous price in blood.